What rule did you like bending growing up? My mom thought I was going to be abducted by strangers, ever since she lost me at the mall one time when I was 6, but that was years ago. Now at 13, she forced me to wear a bright yellow button everywhere that said, I'm not allowed to talk to strangers. The thing is, it didn't just keep strangers away. It made all the kids in my grade level avoid me too, which really sucked. I had no friends, my crush thought I was weird, and even teachers felt bad for me. But her rule didn't even stop there. Mom kept a pre-approved list of exactly 12 people I could speak to, and half of them were my cousins. Even at the 8th grade dance, she forced me to wear a long-sleeved dress with stranger danger stitched on both arms in reflective thread. She volunteered as chaperone and actively stepped in with her questionnaire when someone asked me to dance. What's your name? Who are your parents? Where do you live? She was more of a threat to people than they were to me. I begged her constantly. Please, I'm 13, not 3. Everyone thinks I'm a freak. She calmly responded, well, let them think that. You don't need dangerous people like that in your life anyway. I groaned into a decorative pillow on the couch. I hate you. Mom laughed. Love you too, sweetie. Dad tried helping once. Honey, don't you think we should maybe ease up a bit? She's almost in high school. But Mom shut him down immediately. You want our child kidnapped? Is that what you want? She pulled out laminated newspaper articles from the 80s about kidnapped children. Predators specifically target teens her age. So no, I will not ease up over this. Dad gave me a I tried expression, which made me feel even more hopeless. I made my first real friend walking home from school one day. I took a cut through the park just trying to get fresh air after a really lonely day and spotted an elderly man on a bench struggling to reach a fallen bag of seeds. I rushed over without a thought and picked it up for him. Here you go, I said before quickly standing up, shocked that I had just broken Mom's #1 rule. My heart raced for a second until the kindness from his voice melted away my fears. Thank you, he said with a gentle smile. I watched him continue feeding the birds before deciding to sit at the far corner of the bench, safe enough to look like I wasn't actually interacting with him. We spoke for a few minutes, the first time I ever really got to know someone on my own. I'm Luther. I live just 3 blocks from here. He spoke about his kids who lived outside the city and his wife who died last year. I saw him glance at the bright yellow I'm not allowed to talk to strangers button, but said nothing, to my relief. In fact, he didn't ask a single thing about me, just talked and laughed at his own jokes. I met with him a couple times more after that, just once or twice, never really saying anything back. I mean, I figured I wasn't breaking the rule if I wasn't physically talking to strangers. It wasn't until one Friday afternoon, Mom decided to pick me up from school to spend time together for family day. We walked through the park and she spotted a new food truck. Stay right here where I can see you. And remember, yes, Mom, no talking to strangers, I interrupted, plopping my lonely butt on a nearby bench just across from the old man, Luther. He gave me a small wave and I nervously waved back. Mom came back with this loaded hot dog, already taking huge bites while walking toward me. See, you stayed put. This is how we stay safe. Then her eyes went wide and her hands went to her throat. I screamed, Mom, Mom, and started shaking her shoulders. Other people in the park started gathering, but nobody knew what to do. Someone yelled to call 911, but I knew it'd be too late then. I looked around, terrified. My eyes landed on Luther. Luther, my mom's choking. What do I do? Despite his bent frame and obvious pain, Luther forced himself up and walked over. Everyone back. I'm a paramedic. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, his gnarled hands finding the right position. The first thrust didn't work. Nothing came out. The second thrust made him grimace in pain. On the third thrust, the hot dog piece flew out and Mom gasped for air. Everyone around us clapped and surrounded us, checking to see if Mom was really okay. Mom collapsed forward and Luther barely caught her with his sore arms. She was breathing and crying and looking up at this complete stranger who was holding her. Who are you? She asked between gasps. I knelt beside them. Mom, this is Luther. He's my friend. Her eyes went from Luther to me to the yellow button on my shirt. Luther was still checking her pulse with shaking hands. Your kid's been keeping an old man company, he said. Reminded me there's still good in the world. Luther had to sit down immediately, rubbing his wrists. The EMTs confirmed Mom was fine and checked Luther's wrists, which were strained but okay. Mom sat on Luther's bench and hadn't let go of my hand. How long have you been talking to him? She asked. I'm sorry I hid this from you, Mom, but he's not a bad guy. But he could have been. She sighed and smiled, but he wasn't. Walking home, Mom was quiet for a while. Then she said, I was so focused on protecting you from strangers, I forgot that strangers are just friends we haven't met yet. She pulled off my yellow button and threw it in the park trash can.